Hi, everyone. On behalf of Joe, Dina, and the family, I just want to thank you for being here today, especially those who have come from great distances. We really appreciate it. Obviously, this is a horrid and incomprehensible loss. Joe was a wonderful guy and a pillar of all of his various communities, and I'm sure it's going to take us years to make sense of this if we ever can. And that's the last I'm going to say about that, because neither you nor I need this speech to make us feel any worse than we already do. Joe is all about positivity, fun, and humor, and that's the Joe I want to focus on today. But even more than that, he was my brother, and brothers never stop competing with each other. And this is the best chance I'm ever going to have to rewrite history so that I win. Joe and I competed about literally everything. Who could touch the front door first after we got out of the car? Who could get the highest scores on video games? Even which one of us could most loudly say, "Woo!" That was me. But while he enjoyed beating me at things, Joe was happiest when he was teaching. And man, did he teach me a lot. For instance, he taught me how to lose at one-on-one basketball. I never beat him once. And the one time I beat him at tennis, he taught me how to drive off and make your brother walk home. He taught me that if your little brother who's scared of the dark is taking out the garbage, you can scare him half to death by sneaking around the side of the house and screaming at him. But he also taught me to read, how to pursue goals with tenacity, and a million other things, both large and small. There is not much in my life that doesn't in some way contain his fingerprints. But no matter how much he taught me, and no matter how hard he competed, he could never win the most important issue in our relationship. Who was taller? You will see in many of the pictures in the memorial video that I am, in fact, taller than Joe. But you will also see that I am not. Because he realized at a certain point that if he stood on his tiptoes, he could claim the pictures as evidence of his superior height. He also once told me that the width of your wingspan was the same as your height, and his wingspan was wider. So when I would point to a picture showing my head above his, he would just grin widely and spread his arms to the side like some kind of smug Christ figure, followed by a self-satisfied, if lower registered, woo! Eventually, he even weaponized the DMV against me, changing his official driver's license height to 6 feet to make himself taller. And then when I erupted in protest, reacting in mock offense that I could be so distrusting of America's institutions. But while I was taller, he was certainly bigger, because in the best ways, he stood at the top of all of the many things in which he involved himself across his life. As a kid, he was the best high school defensive player I ever saw. In college, he was at the top of his class and won the highest academic award that ISU has to offer. His State Farm career was full of achievements and commendations. He was a named character in every community players production in which he appeared, which I'm told is a rare achievement. He even somehow willed his graying hair to turn black again. An achievement placing him in the ranks of such luminaries as Elvis, Dick Clark, and Bob Barker. Just before I got married, Joe presented me with his gift, which I could feel through the wrapping was a thin book of some sort. He and I were big readers, and a favorite of ours was the Hardy Boys mystery series. As teenagers, we'd written our own version of a Hardy book, which, if I read it to you, would likely result in charges being filed. Some secrets will be staying between me and my brother. But when I opened the package, this is what I found. He had written an entire book in the style of the Hardy Boys, made us the central characters, and crammed it with references to dozens of people from our youth, and every single private joke or shared reference from our decades of living and laughing together. It is hilarious. It is an incredibly unique, loving, and thoughtful idea, and most importantly, it's only ours. No one else will get the references, And for the rest of my life, I will read it and hear his voice, see his giggle, see his head thrown back in uproarious laughter, and know that this man that I was so incredibly fortunate to have as my brother is still here. But I was rereading it this week, and near the end of the book, I found something I had forgotten was there, and that I'd like to read to you now. In this scene, Jack and Joe are in an office, and the conversation goes like this. Jack understood that he needed to go to the booth for a new picture. Joe stayed behind. Actually, Jim, he said, I need a new driver's license, too. Why did you get a new license? Jack asked suspiciously. Well, it had some outdated information, Joe said, and gleefully showed it to Jack. According to official government records, Joe was now 6 feet tall. Joe, I give up. You win, as you always did and as you always will. You won in achievement in life, with Dina, in love, and in the richness of so many acts of service and friendship that resulted in the avalanche of affection and support that we've seen throughout this week. And every winner deserves to be saluted. So I ask all of you, if you will, and if you can, to rise and send Joe off in the slightly higher registered cheer that would make him smile today. On 3, please. 1, 2, 3. Woo! I love you, Joe. And I will laugh with you again. Thank you.